At that point, the stepmom just says, fine, now you can leave. Go where you're going. Now you can go. And she just goes like back to the sitting room and goes to watch TV or continue whatever she was doing. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Samir's Journey. If you're new, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You know, growing up, we used to watch a lot of cartoons by Disney. And in most of them, they had one thing that was quite common. Most of the stories had a stepmom, and like Cinderella, Snow White, Rapunzel, Maleficent, and many other stories, you would get that the stepmom was always evil and always doing some crazy stuff. I'm sure most of you have watched most of the movies that I've just mentioned. So this story is going to be a bit similar, but more graphic, I think. So a couple months ago, my neighbor, close friend of mine, introduced me to one of his close friends who lives just like 5 minutes away. I've never met this guy. I never even knew he existed until that moment. I know his younger brother because we've hung out before through a mutual friend, but I didn't know he had an older brother who was around and cool, someone I can chill with. Just some cool, open-minded guy. Talked with him a couple of times. So the day I met him, he was at his house, and his stepmom was around. So this guy lives with his stepmom, and his mom also lives in the same city, same town, just that he chose to stay with his stepmom. So we're at this place, and his stepmom, you know, even though they say don't take first impressions seriously, we met her. And she didn't even greet us. She was just like mean, and she was shouting at him. Like we could just tell, like there's some bad energy around this part. So me and my neighbor friend, we left. Like, oh bro, we'll check you out later, because we don't want things to just get worse around here. And we left. Yeah, that was somewhere. Should be around April, April, maybe somewhere there. Can't really remember when that was. So after some time, we met him again, and he was like, no, don't mind what my stepmom said, or maybe she's just having a bad day, don't take it seriously, she's a very good person, and stuff like that. Didn't think much about it that day. Didn't think much about it that day. So usually in the afternoons and evenings, I like taking walks, just listening to music and thinking, and planning some stuff, just getting some fresh air. So last week, I stepped out for a walk and I met my neighbor. Then he asked me, oh, did you know what happened to... I don't want to say his real name. I'll call him Jack. Do you know what happened to Jack? I was like, no. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while. Why? What's up? I was like, he got stabbed. Okay. By who? And it's like, no, his stepmom stabbed him because of some argument or something like that. I was like, okay. I knew that woman had like anger issues, or she never really liked him, but I didn't know she would go that extent of trying to kill the dude. I didn't know she would go that far. So he narrated to me, my neighbor narrated to me what happened. So it was more of like my friend, Jack, he got fed up of how his stepmom was treating him where he was staying. Because he lived with his stepmom and his stepbrothers and sisters all together. But the thing is, she never treated him like right or good. She would treat her children right and everything, but she would never treat him right. And it was that kind of thing whereby if he complains, she would tell his dad that no, he was drunk. Like she always used that thing. Like he was drunk, that's why he's acting like this. He was drunk, he did this, that kind of thing. The guy barely even drinks, That's what she used to say. So that day he gets fed up and he talks to us like, oh, can I take my bed and go live with my friend, my neighbor? He meant my neighbor. Then she gets upset and it's like, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get any furniture from my house and take it somewhere else. It's not going to happen. And that's it, end of story. So this guy was like, oh, fine. Cool guy. Fine. So he goes to his room, he locks the door and starts listening to music. A couple of minutes later, he hears banging on the door. Then he hears on his window, like, and she says, open the door, and she's got some bar in her hand, like a metal bar or rod in her hand, and she's like, open the door. So he opens the door. Then she comes in, starts talking and talking and talking. So this guy's like, okay, I've had enough. So he chooses to walk out of the situation. It's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna leave this place. So while he's walking out, like about to approach the door, walking out, he just felt like something penetrate his neck. And from there, it just became a blur and he fell on the ground. So while he was walking out, his stepmom grabbed a knife and stabbed him in his neck. And saw the guy dropped down and lost the leg. I said bleeding, a lot of blood there. At that point, the stepmom just says, fine, now you can leave. Go where you're going. Now you can go. And she just goes like back to the sitting room and goes to watch TV or continue whatever she was doing. So this guy is on the floor. Then her children and the worker, it was during the day, they get concerned like, yo, this guy is going to die. And the woman is just like, I don't care kind of mentality, and just carries on. And after like 15-20 minutes is when she realizes, oh, this is a serious thing because the guy is on the ground. And then she now starts to panic. Oh, what have I done? Like, you know, like reality hits her and she's just shaking. What have I done? So in that moment, she tells the workers there to put him in the car. So they put him into the car and he makes a mess in the car, you know, like just like bleeding all over the car. And the guy is like, you know, he's still alive, but then he's like, his life was fading, you know, he's just weak and everything because he's bleeding like a lot. Then the woman drives out with him in the back. Then she takes him to his real mom's house. So they arrive there and his real mom gets really shocked, like, yo, why bring him here? Why didn't you take him to hospital? Confusion starts again. So then she takes him to hospital. That's where he recovered after some time. So the thing is, his dad didn't live in this city. He works in another city that's like about 8 hours away from here. So the dad didn't know any of this was happening. So when the father got knowledge of the situation, that's when he traveled back here and started sorting things out. And his wife, my friend's stepmother, was supposed to be arrested, but then the dad talked the security out, you know, like, let's just clean things up and make it look like nothing ever happened. So during the time, the friend of mine, like, what was going through his head during the time when he immediately got stabbed, you know, it's like he didn't know what was happening. Like, he just felt weak and confused. Like, he didn't know what was going on in that moment. So then, when his stepmom was saying, you can leave now, go, he's like, in his mind, he was saying himself, I want to go, but I can't, you know, like, you know, the mind was strong, but the body was weak, you know. So even the moment when she said, put him in the car, he actually thought it was the end. Because what he thought in his mind is like, oh, this is the end. She's going to put me in the car and go throw my body or ditch me somewhere, like with the bushes nearby, like ditch me in the bushes. Then when my father or anyone asks about me, she would just say, oh, he went out drinking and I don't know what happened. You know, like, that's what was going on in his mind because he was sure that woman could do something like that. Then he recovered, but then he lived at his real mom's place for a while. Then after, he felt that he couldn't stay down like too long, you know, just so much to do. You know, like, he wasn't so comfortable. But then his dad kept on persuading him to go back to live with his stepmom and, you know, but he chose not to because, you know, that woman, like, just the first time meeting, I could feel like she had some bad vibes, you know. So what more? In his mind, is like, if I go back there, why is she just going to finish me now? Like, now she's just like, now let's just end this. Let's just finish this, you know. I was going through his mind because that woman was something else, yeah. Then his dad actually asked him to drop the charges on his stepmom. You know, like, nah, just forgive her and just drop the charges and everything. Because it's like a court case. That woman would get sentenced to maybe like a couple years. Because that was like attempted murder, like, you know. She almost killed that guy. It was, yeah, you know, almost killed that guy. So then he chose to forgive her. Because he said, like, if she went to prison or something like that, who was going to take care of the kids, the children that are at home and all that kind of thing? Like, he was considering his other siblings, like the ones who lived at that house, who's going to take care of them and that kind of thing. So he chose not to do anything drastic. But then again, he chose not to live there again because that place is not for him. I doubt he's ever going to go back there, because now he actually moved. Now he's living in the same city with his dad, and you know, he just wants like the story to reduce, like, you know, because a lot of people have been asking him and about what happened, blah blah. I don't know where I was. Like, I think I was under a rock, because it happened like earlier this month, and I didn't know anything. Someone just told me like a bit late, but yeah, it happened. It happened. Just like all those Disney stories that tell us like stepmothers are evil and everything. Yeah. Anyway, folks, that's the story. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on my next video. Peace. Did I forget anything? No, I didn't.